We have been on a journey together in these first 4 episodes. We've sat with the question of trust, we've looked honestly at rest, and today, in this final episode of Phase 1, we arrive at the thread that runs through all of it. Today, we talk about emotions, not to manage them or fix them or make them more presentable, but to finally, perhaps for the first time, meet them as the messengers they have always been. I'm Mary Jane. You are someone who is trying to live well, someone who senses that real wellness goes deeper than what you eat or how often you move, that it lives in the stories you carry, the emotions you navigate, the relationships you cultivate, and the body you have been living in all along. The Tending Hour is a podcast about what it means to tend to the whole of who you are across all 3 dimensions of your life: spiritual, physical, and relational. I'm Mary Jane, integrative health and wellness coach, National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and founder of Trilateral Transformation. Each season, we explore a different territory of the whole person life. Each episode, we go there across all 3 dimensions, slowing down, looking honestly at what is happening beneath the surface, and practicing together the kind of care that a whole person deserves. No quick fixes, no performance, just real, honest, whole person tending. At trilateraltransformation.com, there is a companion workbook available for every season, a self-guided reflection space designed to help you process what each episode stirs, go deeper with the guided prompts, and carry the season's work into the texture of your actual life. Wherever you are starting, you are in the right place. And whatever you are carrying, there is room for it here. This is the Tending Hour, and you were made for this kind of tending. Welcome back to the Tending Hour. Today, we arrive at something I have been looking forward to since the very first episode. Today, we talk about emotions. This is episode 4, and if you've been with me from the beginning, you've already done something meaningful. You've sat with the question of trust, you've looked honestly at your relationship with rest, and now we arrive at the thread that runs through all of it, the dimension of your inner life that most of us have been taught in more ways than we can count, to manage rather than meet. And it feels right that we end here because you cannot truly align with yourself until you are willing to feel yourself. So let's do that together, gently, honestly. I want to start with something that might feel a little uncomfortable to hear. Most of us were never actually taught how to have emotions. We were taught how to handle them, manage them, express them appropriately, keep them proportionate, not let them get out of control. We were taught that some emotions are acceptable: happiness, gratitude, enthusiasm, calm, and some are not: anger, grief, jealousy, despair. We learned which ones to show and which ones to swallow, which ones made us easy to be around, and which ones made people uncomfortable. So we became very skilled performers of emotional life, very practiced at knowing what we were supposed to feel, and very disconnected from what we actually felt. And here's what that cost us, is still costing us. When we suppress or bypass or perform our emotional life, we don't actually make those emotions go away. We just change the language they speak in. They start speaking through our bodies as tension, fatigue, illness, pain. They start speaking through our relationships as withdrawal, reactivity, distance, conflict. They start speaking through our spiritual life as emptiness, disconnection, a quiet sense that something essential is missing. Your emotions did not disappear. They went looking for another way out. And what I want to offer you today, what I believe with everything I am, is this: your emotions are not the problem. They are not too much. They are not evidence of weakness or instability or failure to cope. They are messengers, and they have been trying to reach you for a very long time. Let's talk about what emotions actually are, because there's a lot of misunderstanding here, and the misunderstanding is partly why we've been handling them so poorly. Emotions are not irrational. They are information. Sophisticated, embodied, remarkably precise information about what is happening inside you and around you. The problem is not that we feel things. The problem is that we were never taught to read the information they carry. So instead of asking what an emotion is telling us, we ask how to make it stop. Here's something that genuinely shifted the way I understand emotional life. People who lose access to their emotional responses through certain kinds of brain injury do not become more rational. They become unable to decide, unable to navigate, unable to choose. Because emotions are not the opposite of good thinking. They are part of it. They carry information that logic alone cannot access, which means that when we suppress our emotional life in the name of being reasonable or professional or strong, we are not becoming clearer. We are becoming less equipped, less whole, less ourselves. There is also something called emotional granularity, the ability to name what you feel with precision, not just, I feel bad, but I feel disappointed and a little ashamed, and underneath that, afraid. Research shows that the more precisely we can name our emotional experience, the better we are at regulating it, the more resilient we become, the healthier our outcomes mentally, physically, relationally. Language is not just how we describe our emotions. It is part of how we process them, which means that learning to name what you feel, really name it with honesty and specificity, is one of the most practical wellness practices available to you. Now, let's bring this into the 3 dimensions, because emotions, perhaps more than any other topic we've explored, live everywhere at once. Your spiritual life is the dimension most intimately connected to your emotional world, because both live in the realm of what cannot be fully explained, only experienced. Many spiritual traditions have long understood what science is now confirming, that our inner emotional life is not separate from our spiritual development. It is the terrain of it. Grief, when we allow it, can become one of the most spiritually expansive experiences of a human life. It cracks us open in ways that nothing else can. It strips away what is not essential and leaves us standing in contact with what actually matters. Joy, real joy, not performed happiness, is a spiritual experience. It is the feeling of being fully alive and fully present, of contact with something larger than the ordinary moment. Even difficult emotions like anger, when we meet them with curiosity instead of shame, often reveal something sacred, a value that has been violated, a boundary that matters, a part of ourselves that refuses to be diminished. Tending to your spiritual life means making room for the full spectrum of your emotional experience, not just the beautiful parts, not just the easy ones, all of it, because all of it is you, and all of you is worthy of tending. Your body and your emotional life are not separate systems running parallel to each other. They are one continuous conversation. Chronic emotional suppression, the long-term practice of pushing feelings down, performing okayness, keeping it together, has measurable physical consequences. Elevated stress hormones, increased inflammation, a compromised immune system, higher rates of physical illness. Your body keeps an honest record of everything your mind tries to set aside. This is not to add guilt to the already heavy load of anyone who has spent years surviving by not feeling. That suppression was often adaptive. It was how you got through. It made sense at the time. But here, now, in this space, it is safe to begin letting what has been held finally move, because emotions are meant to move. The word emotion comes from the Latin meaning to move out, to set in motion. They are designed to flow through us, not to be stored indefinitely. Tending to your physical well-being means giving your emotional life somewhere to go, movement, breath, creative expression, tears when they come, rest when the body asks for it. The physical body needs the emotional life to keep moving, and the emotional life needs the physical body to give it somewhere to land. Moving into the relational dimension, this is where emotional life becomes most visible and most vulnerable. Our relational world is the place where our emotions are most often witnessed. And whether that witnessing has historically felt safe or unsafe has shaped more than almost anything else our relationship with our own emotional experience. If you grew up in an environment where your emotions were met with warmth and curiosity, where it was safe to cry, safe to be angry, safe to be confused, you likely developed a different relationship with your inner life than someone whose emotions were consistently dismissed, punished, or treated as burdens. Neither experience makes you broken. Both experiences make you human. But it does mean that healing our relationship with our own emotions is often, at its roots, relational work. It often means finding spaces in therapy, in coaching, in trusted relationships, in communities of honest people, where the fullness of your emotional experience is genuinely welcome. It also means learning to be that space for yourself first, to be the witness who does not flinch, the presence that says, whatever is here, I can be with it. I don't need to fix it or explain it or make it more acceptable. I can simply be with it. That quality of inner companionship, that willingness to stay with your own emotional experience without abandoning yourself, is one of the most profound acts of relational health available to you. It begins with you, and it changes everything around you. So, how do we begin to build a different relationship with our emotional life, especially when the old patterns are deep and the new ones feel unfamiliar? I want to offer you a practice I call the emotional inquiry. It is simple. It is not about fixing anything. It is about beginning, one honest moment at a time. When you notice a feeling arising, whatever it is, however inconvenient the timing, try this. First, name it. Not just broadly, get specific. Not just, I feel bad, but what kind of bad? Sad, disappointed, ashamed, afraid, lonely, resentful, overwhelmed. The more precisely you can name it, the more agency you have with it. Second, locate it. Where does this feeling live in your body right now? Is there tightness in your chest, a heaviness in your shoulders, a knot in your stomach? Emotions always have a physical address. Finding it helps move the feeling from something abstract and overwhelming into something real and workable. Third, ask it one question. What are you trying to tell me? Not to demand an answer, not to analyze it to death, just to open the door, just to treat the emotion as the messenger it is and give it the dignity of being asked. You don't have to act on what comes. You don't have to share it with anyone. You only have to be willing to listen. Name it, locate it, ask it. That's the whole practice. And it is enough, more than enough, to begin changing your relationship with your own inner life. Before I close today, I want to take a moment to acknowledge something. If you have been with me through all 4 episodes of Phase 1 Align, I want you to know what you've actually done. You've sat with the question of trust and perhaps begun to hear in the quiet what you already know. You've looked honestly at your relationship with rest and perhaps given yourself a little more permission to receive it. And today, you've begun to turn toward your emotional life with something other than management, with curiosity, with compassion, with the beginning of a different kind of listening. That is Align. That is what it means to begin to come into honest relationship with yourself across all 3 dimensions of who you are. In our next episode, we move into Phase 2, Integrate. And if Align was about seeing yourself clearly, Integrate is about creating the conditions where what you've seen can actually take root. We begin with something that underlies everything else in phase 2, something that your nervous system has been quietly asking for, perhaps for longer than you realize. We begin with safety. Not safety as the absence of risk, but safety as the felt sense in your body, in your relationships, in your own inner world, that you are okay, that you are held, that you can afford to let down your guard long enough to actually change. I cannot wait to explore it with you. I want to say something to you before you go. If anything in today's episode stirred something, if something rose to the surface that surprised you, or if you felt something shift, even slightly, I want you to honor that, not by analyzing it or explaining it or deciding what to do with it, just by noticing that it happened. Something in you responded. That matters. Your emotional life is not too much. It has never been too much. It has been waiting patiently, persistently, with remarkable loyalty for you to be ready to meet it. And the fact that you are here, that you pressed play, that you stayed, that you listened, tells me that some part of you is ready, or at least ready to begin being ready, which is the same thing, which is everything. This is the tending hour, and tending to your emotional life, really tending to it with patience and curiosity and the quiet bravery of someone who has decided they are worth knowing, is some of the most important work a human being can do. Thank you for doing it here with me. Until next time, tend to all of you.